Hi everyone, very good morning and welcome back to Grade B. So let's start today's discussion. Today I have brought to you some cost accounting basics, right? The intention behind this is, it is also a branch of accounting, number one thing. And number two is that in the year of 2017, a question was asked from this particular section, and that question was regarding that was relevant to the cost driver topic. Okay, so although the cost accounting in itself is a very vast subject, and that is why I am just including the basics of every topic, so that if any question comes which is easy, which is doable, so even if you have some idea about that, you will be able to do it. Okay, agar kuch idea hi nahi hoga, then we will be just putting blind guesses, right? So in order to prevent that situation, we are coming up with few of the basics. I hope that you will understand these particular basics. So let's start this. Okay, wait for a second. Yes. So basics of cost accounting, and when I'm saying basics, believe me, there are truly basic. Fine. The cost accounting is very wide, and it has got a lot of principles, objectives, definitions into it, right? Obviously, you can understand that cost accounting is a good separate principle in itself, and it can have a 4 to 500 pages book, right? For those who are aware about it, they'll know about it, but for those who are not, I'm telling you this particular thing. So reading a 400 to 500 pages book just for a question, and it might also happen that that question might not occur. Okay, so what we can do for that? We can just go through the basics. So cost accounting is what? Cost accounting is recording, analyzing and the reporting of the cost of management. The intention behind this type of accounting is to provide insights into the cost structure of the business that can be used to better manage it. See, under financial accounting, what we are doing, we are recording all sort of expenses, we are recording all sort of incomes. Okay? But in cost accounting, what we are doing is, we are looking at the cost. I am looking at the what is my material cost, what is my labor cost, right? What is my manufacturing expenses, and all such things I am looking for. Why I am looking for? Because management needs an information. For example, I'll tell you. Financial accounting deals with what? I am selling a 10 rupee biscuit packet. ठीक है, एक 10 रुपए का बिस्किट का पैकेट बेच रहे हैं. So financial accounting will record it 10 rupees, right? And then the purchased cost of materials will be recorded like at 5 rupees, etc. It will record the cost, fine. But if I have 10 products like this, अगर मेरे पास ऐसे 10 products हैं, then financial accounting will show me a consolidated picture. ठीक है? Financial accounting will not give me product wise bifurcations because it is not the intention. Financial accounting intention is to draw balance sheet and P&L, right? P&L is not made product wise, if you understand. P&L is made consolidated. Consolidated means whatever products and whatever services you are selling, collectively we will make just one profit and loss account. So what if I need the information product wise? अगर मुझे information product wise चाहिए तो, if I need information service wise, then so in all such cases, cost accounting becomes truly useful, right? In all such cases, cost accounting gives you the information product wise, or any parameter that you want, cost accounting will give you information on that particular basis. Okay? Now let's see. I have included some definitions also over here. Number one is the activity based cost analysis, right? So here what happens is accumulation of overhead costs into cost pools from which the costs are allocated to the cost object. The intention is to gain a better understanding of what causes the overhead cost. Suppose, understand this point. There are three products A, B and C. right? I purchased material. So I know specifically that for which product I have purchased material. किस product के लिए material purchase किया है ये तो मुझे पता ही है. Then for which product I have employed how much labor, that also I know. So these will be called as the direct cost. ठीक है? Direct cost which is allocable to any particular product directly, that is called as direct cost. But apart from these direct costs, I also have factory overheads. Factory overhead का मतलब extra खर्चा. Suppose I have factory rent. So how shall I divide factory rent on these three products? Allocate तो करना पड़ेगा ना. In my factory, these are the three products which are getting manufactured. So now I have to distribute the cost on all these three products on some basis, right? So that is called as the activity based cost analysis. Earlier, that means in traditional costing, what used to happen, that what they used to do is they will divide the rent on the basis of labor. Whatever is the labor ratio, they will divide on the basis of that. But under activity based costing, it says that divide on the basis from where cost is generating. For example, I'll tell you. So if I am dividing factory rent, don't you think that it should be divided on the basis of land area occupied by each product? For example, my factory is having a space of 1000, right? 1000 is a space for my factory. So how much space is occupied by A production? How much space is occupied by product B's production? ठीक है? So इस तरीके से I will divide my factory spaces into the areas which is taken by these products manufacturing facility, and on that basis I will divide my cost. It is a good thing, right? In this way my cost has been distributed on some rational basis. This was the kind of question that was being asked to you. I'll just tell you the question also. Okay, so I'll tell you in the end. Now next thing is, for example, you have another cost, delivery related cost. So how it should be divided? It should be divided on number of deliveries made for products. Right? Number of deliveries made for the products. Delivering cost. मतलब कि जिस प्रोडक्ट में आपकी जितनी कॉस्ट लग रही है डिलीवरी के लिए, आप उस बेसिस पे डिवाइड कीजिए डिलीवरी कॉस्ट को. सो दिस इज व्हाट द बेसिस ऑफ एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्ट एनालिसिस. दैट मीन्स कॉस्ट will be allocated to the products on the basis of activity that is generating this cost. See, if product A is involving more deliveries, then more cost will be allocated to product A. If product C is involving lesser number of deliveries, then less number of delivery cost will be allocated to product C. ठीक है, ऐसा होता है. So this was the question that was asked. चलिए, now let's see the next topic. This is break-even analysis. See, break-even means the situation of no profit and no loss. है ना, ऐसी situation जहां ना तो profit हो रहा है ना loss हो रहा है. Break-even analysis calls for the calculation of sales level at which a business or the product lines break even. That means the sales at which there is no profit no loss. That is called as the break even point. ठीक है, उसको क्या कहते हैं हम? Break even point. So it helps us to decide whether we want to continue a product or not. See, if a product is not giving you profits, then what is the point of uh, initiating that particular product, right? Or starting with that particular product. Now giving you some extra information over here as well. Just see. So this is how it is calculated. See, sales less variable cost, it gives you contribution. ठीक है, क्या देता है? Contribution. And then contribution less fixed cost is equals to profit. ठीक है, सो जब अगर आपका यहाँ पर आंसर 0 आ रहा है, that is called as no profit, no loss. ठीक है, this is your break even condition. Now what is variable cost? Variable cost is that cost which changes with the production. For example, if I am producing 1000 packets of biscuit, I will require a certain quantity of maida. When I am producing 2000 पैकेट्स ऑफ बिस्किट, आई विल नीड मोर मैदा. ठीक है, तब मुझे और ज्यादा मैदा की जरूरत पड़ेगी. सो दैट कॉस्ट, मटेरियल कॉस्ट, इज कॉल्ड एज द वेरिएबल कॉस्ट. फिक्स कॉस्ट मीन्स विच डज नॉट हैव एनी रिलेशन विद द प्रोडक्शन. ठीक है, जिसका प्रोडक्शन से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल रेंट. ठीक है, क्या होता है? रेंट. सो suppose let's take an example in a factory. Whether you are producing 5 products or 6 products, the rent is going to remain the same. ठीक है, whether you are producing 1000 tons of production or you are producing 2000 tons of your production, the rent is going to remain same. So it is called as the fixed cost. ठीक है, इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Fixed cost. Now let's talk about the budgets. So budgeting is the process of developing the planned revenues and expenses for future periods, right? So we do the planning so that we can control our expenditures, right? We can see that what are our financing needs and all this. See, every topic has got a quite depth into it. Okay, I cannot discuss the topics into depth, but whatever is going to come to my mind, I'm going to talk about it. So budgets, this is all what. So this is going to be the performer of budget. Just see, you will write your revenues, ठीक है? You will write your costs, all the costs, and then you will arrive at your profit. Now when you are making the budget, you are making for the future periods, right? आप आगे आने वाले periods के लिए बना रहे हैं. So suppose I am making this particular product budget for the next year. So for next year, I am going to estimate that what is going to be my sales, what is going to be my cost, and what is going to be my profit. ठीक है, क्या sales होगी, क्या cost होगा, क्या profit होगा, everything I will decide for the next year. Now, the types of budgets. There is fixed budget, and then there is flexible budget. What is it? ठीक है, फिक्स बजट भी होता है, फ्लेक्सिबल बजट भी होता है. फिक्स बजट मीन्स you have decided that in the next year I want to produce 10,000 units and you have just made the product budget for this one quantity only. ठीक है, so you have decided that in the next year I am going to produce 10,000 units, right? And this is just one quantity for which you have made the budget. Whereas in flexible budget, you have made 3 different budgets. So you have said that what if my production is 5,000 units? What will be the cost? What if my production is 9,000 units? And what if my production is 10,000 units? ठीक? So you have made 3 different budgets at different quantities. So this is called as the flexible budgeting. ठीक है? Now this is the one type of budget which is based on the quantity. We have a different thing as well. So this is types of budget based on functions. So in a business, we have different kinds of functions as well, right? So suppose we are having sales budget. This is for the sales department. They are making the sales budget. Then we have purchase budget. Then you are also having cash budget. Right? Just wait for a second. Yes. So these are based on the functions. Like you might be having labor budget as well, or also called as the manpower budget. ठीक है, क्या बोलते हैं? मैन पावर बजट भी बोलते हैं. Okay, so this is types of budget based on the functions. Okay, now this is what I wanted to tell you in the budgeting. Now let's talk about cost control. Now these definitions have been put up for your understanding, right? Like minimum pricing analysis, cost control, what are all these? See, every business doesn't want that their cost should go high. They want their profits should be higher, right? So they always try to do cost control and cost reduction, and there is no rocket science in it why they want to do it. Okay? They want to increase their profits. Now next thing that I want to explain you out of this is target costing. Just a little bit we will understand so that you have a functional understanding for your examination. Target costing, under this we set up a price at which the product can be sold for reasonable profit, and then designing the product to have the specific cost structure. That means normally what we do is, suppose the cost is 10 rupees, then I will add my profit of 2 rupees, and then I have decided my selling price. But in target costing what happens is, I have decided that ठीक है, because of the market conditions I have to keep my prices just at 20. मुझे 20 रखना है my market prices, right? And after that I have also decided that I want to earn 5 rupees as a profit. So 20 minus 5, what does it remains? 15. So that means anyhow I have to keep my cost at 15. So this is called as the target costing. ठीक है? Throughput analysis, it focuses on the bottleneck operations to see if the usage is being maximized. ठीक है? Usage is being maximized. I'll tell you how. What is known as the bottleneck? See, when I am doing any kind of production, a product passes through various channels. ठीक है? बहुत सारे channels होते हैं. Suppose I have put a product into first machine, then we have a second machine, right? And then product is manually packed. So this is third stage. After manual packaging, there is a third machine under which the products goes for the packing. ठीक है? So अब अगर if capacity of all the machines is 1000 tons per day, then it is great, right? But if one of my machinery is just having a capacity of 500 tons, so that machine will form a bottleneck. वो machine क्या form करेगी? Bottleneck. That means what? See, this machine is limiting the production. So throughput analysis talks about that we shall ensure that whatever bottleneck we are having, bottleneck मतलब limiting factor, वो एक मशीन जिसका प्रोडक्शन का कैपेसिटी कम है, दैट इज कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू लिमिटेशन. सो वी विल have a thorough understanding of the machinery. We will look whether we are able to efficiently utilize that machinery or not. So this is called as the throughput analysis. Just the name is enough if in case the question is being asked. Variance analysis, what? Variance means the difference. The difference. I have thought that my cost is going to be 22 rupees per product. मैंने सोचा था, this was my aim. This is I aimed for that the product that I am selling 22 rupees will be the cost. But actually it is coming to 25 rupees. This is the actual. So why there has been a difference? What are the causes for it? How this difference has arisen? This is all the what you can say. This is what we do under variance analysis. ठीक है? Variance हर चीज का होता है. Like material cost related variance, labor related variance, overhead cost related variance. For all those who do not understand the meaning of overhead, it means a cost that is not directly allocable to any product. ऐसी कॉस्ट जो किसी प्रोडक्ट से डायरेक्टली नहीं लिंक्ड है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सैलरी ऑफ एन अकाउंटेंट. Accountant की salary, I cannot say that okay, this accountant's salary is allocable to product A. That is not the case. Why? Because accountant is working for all the products. He is not working just for a specific product, right? So this is why overhead is that cost that is not allocable to any product directly. ठीक है? So we have overheads related variance, we have sales price related variance, right? So बहुत सारे variances होते हैं, not very required for you to go into the deep analysis. Next is the cost formulas. See, when so ये छोटे छोटे formulas भी, these are important. You just can have a look on to them. How gross profit is calculated? See, formula is sales less cost of goods sold. ठीक है? We call it as COGS. Cost of goods sold. How cost of goods sold is calculated? So just see that as well. What has been your opening stock? Less closing stock plus purchases, means purchase of material etc., plus direct expenses. Direct expenses means which are directly related to the production of the goods. ठीक है? So this is how your gross profit will be calculated. So can I say that in the calculation of gross profit only direct expenses are used? Yes. ठीक है? Direct expenses कौन से expenses होते हैं? The expenses which are directly allocable to the product manufactured. ठीक है? ऐसे खर्चे जो हम directly allocate कर सकते हैं products पे. Getting my point? So this is what gross profit is all about. So the result as a percentage. Now gross margin is what? Gross profit divided by net sales. Okay? So this is what your gross profit. From this we come to know that whether we are making a product that is profitable or not. ठीक है, ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट के बाद एक नेट प्रॉफिट भी आता है. नेट प्रॉफिट में व्हाट वी डू, from gross profit we deduct all the indirect expenses as well. Indirect expenses कौन से, the expenses which have been incurred but that are not directly allocable to any particular product. For example, salary of the accountant, easy example, right? खर्चा है, yes खर्चा है. Is it a direct expense? No. Why it is not a direct expense? Because it is not directly related to production of any particular product. For example, printing expenses or telephone expenses, right? Or rent of factory, or there can be so many examples like audit related expenses. These are not related to the manufacturing of any particular product, right? So hence we call them as the indirect expenses. और अगर अब मुझसे कोई पूछेगा कि आप net profit कैसे calculate करेंगे, so how I am going to do this? Net profit is equals to gross profit plus indirect incomes. Indirect income means those incomes which I am getting from other sources apart from production. ठीक है, production के अलावा दूसरे sources से. For example, interest. Suppose I have provided loan to someone. I am getting interest on it. That is my indirect income, right? Like dividend received, that is also an indirect income. Fine. And then we have indirect expenses. See, it was important for me to mention the indirect incomes as well, because these kind of formula based questions can also be asked and you might get confused. So it is important to just quote the full formula. Net profit is equals to gross profit. इसमें आप add करेंगे indirect incomes if you have any, and then you will deduct the indirect expenses if you have any. ठीक है, and means obviously you will have, if you are running a business, indirect expenses will be there. Next is the break even point. I have already told you what is a break even point. ठीक है, again I am going to tell you. See, if in a question comes, I have told you sales minus variable cost is contribution, and contribution में से अगर आप fixed cost हटा देंगे, then you will receive your profit or loss. And if this profit and loss is zero, that is called as a break-even point. The sales at which your profit or loss is zero. That means the sales level at which you are making no profit and no losses. ठीक है? So इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? Break-even point. What is another formula to calculate this? The another formula to calculate this is break-even point is equals to fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. इससे आपका आंसर क्वांटिटी में निकलेगा, and you can also have PV ratio. ठीक है, आपका एक PV ratio भी होगा. So this is the formula. Next is the net profit percentage. I have told you how to calculate net profit, and net profit percentage means net profit divided by sales multiplied by 100. ठीक है, this is your net profit percentage. ठीक है. Now the cost concepts in the decision making, again a very low hanging fruit. If such kind of question appears in your examination, we can divide the cost on three bases: fixed, variable, mixed cost. ठीक है, it is also called as a semi variable cost, mixed cost. This is also have a name. It is also called as the semi variable. Now understand over here, fixed cost का मतलब क्या होता है? Those costs which do not change with the volume of production. ऐसी कॉस्ट जो वॉल्यूम ऑफ प्रोडक्शन के साथ चेंज नहीं करती, दैट मीन्स like your rent of factory premises. Whatever production you are doing, it does not have an impact on the rent. For example, salary of the accountant, that is also fixed. If your accountant is charging 50,000 rupees a month, then you have to pay him. Doesn't matter you have not done any production, or if you have done the bumper production, he is not going to ask you high salary or low salary depending on your production. So that is, we call it as a fixed cost. Then let's talk about variable cost. Variable cost वो cost होती हैं जो production के साथ change करती हैं. Those costs which change with the production. For example, if I am going to produce more biscuits, then I will need more maida, right? I will need more sugar, I will need more SMP. So this is what happens. So the cost that I will be incurring on material will be called as the variable cost. For example, if I am doing more production, then I will be needing more laborers. तब मुझे और laborers की ज़रूरत होगी, right? So the payment or wages that I am making to laborers, that will be called as what? That will be called as the variable cost. उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? Variable cost. Now what is this mixed cost? Mixed cost is like a part of this cost is fixed and a part of this cost is variable. अब ये कैसे होता है? For example, repairs and maintenance. So in repairs and maintenance, you might be having a fixed contract of 1 lakh rupees. These are the fixed charges, and apart from that, if any kind of defect happens, then the tools related expenses needs to be paid by you. Okay, so we have a fixed cost as well at 1 lakh rupees, right? And after that we have a variable cost as well. That means every time there is a defect, I need to purchase the tool, etc., and that is called as the your repairs and maintenance related cost. Okay, so I'm hoping that you are understanding this particular point of semi-variable cost as well. So a fixed cost such as rent, it does not change through the level of activity. Conversely, variable cost like direct material, that will change as the level of activity. ठीक है? Those few costs that change somewhat, मतलब थोड़ा बहुत change होंगी. For example, 1 lakh is going to be there. That is my fixed charges. But apart from that, if you call the repair maintenance guy every time, then he is going to charge for the tools. ठीक है? So that is will be this cost is having both the components, fixed as well as the variable. इसमें आपका fixed component भी है and variable component भी है. ठीक है? Next is joint product byproduct. So this is a whole chapter on itself, right? So a product may be incidental byproduct of a production process, right? If so, it does not really have any cost, since its cost would have been incurred anyways in the result of a production of main products. Thus, selling a byproduct at any price is profitable, no price is too low. What we are talking about over here is the byproduct. What is a byproduct? See, so in the production of sugar, you have sugar cane, right? When you take the sugar cane in the production, you have you get different kinds of product. So you get sugar, you get good, right? Fine. So in the same process, you are getting these two things. Good, sugar, right? So these are what? There will be a one main product and the others will be byproduct. Fine. So any stock, that means the feedstock or the canes that are getting out of this particular process, that are useful for our different kinds of biodiesel or the ethanol manufacturing, etc. Okay. So this is called as the byproduct cost. Byproduct matlab when you are manufacturing. For example, you can take the example of crude oil. So when you refine the crude oil, you get petrol, you get diesel, you get petrochemicals that are sold, you get the jelly, fine. So there are so many kind of products. So out of one process, you wanted to get petrol and diesel, but what you are also getting is the petrochemicals, right? Other chemicals, petroleum jelly, etc., etc. These are the things that you are also getting. So those are called as a byproduct. One is main product, then you have a byproduct. Main product means which is important, and byproduct means which is having less amount of value and not really very important. Okay? Then this allocated cost is not important. This is the concept that you would like to know. So discretionary cost means only a few costs can actually be dropped without causing any short-term harm to the organization. Examples are employee training, facility maintenance. Over the long term, delaying these expenditures will eventually have a negative effect. See, if you are not giving a good training to your employees, then you are bound to suffer losses. Although this cost depends on your discretion, this is not going to hamper your production in a short term, but a long term this is going to affect you. Thus, the manager needs to understand the impact of decisions as well. See, though some costs are essentially fixed, it may be necessary to make a large investments in them when the activity level increases past a certain point. So adding a production shift is an example of step cost. Step cost means when you are going to take a higher amount of activity. जब आप एक higher amount of activity के लिए proceed कर रहे हैं, that is called as the step cost. For example, right now my factory rent is 50,000 rupees, okay? But I would like to increase my production, and if I would like to increase my production, I have to change the factory because the current space is not sufficient. अभी की space जो है वो sufficient नहीं है. Getting my point? So this is why when you will change the factory rent will become 1 lakh rupees. So in this case, this is called as a step cost. Step cost means when you are taking a step ahead, right? You are leveling up, and in that scenario, you are incurring more than what is currently you are doing. Now, in very few words, I have tried to include the concepts of inventory as well. So these are the inventory valuation methods, like first in, first out, last in, first out, and then we have a average cost method as well. ठीक है. Last, you have an average cost method as well. Now let's talk about how this functions. So suppose, let's think about medicines, right? So I have a medicine that has been manufactured on first, then we have a medicine that has been manufactured in 4th month, and then a medicine that has been manufactured in 6th month, right? So whenever a customer orders me to give the medicine, which medicine I shall give him first? This one. ठीक है. So मैं कैसे count करूंगी? How will I will do the valuation of my inventories? First in, first out. जो पहले आया वो पहले गया. Okay. So this came first to me. Now I am going to give this to my customers first. So this is out. Now I have to do the valuation of remaining two. This is first in, first out. Last in, first out means which came last will go first. ठीक है. So in this particular case, if customer comes up to me, I will give him this, and then I will do the valuation of the remaining two which are with me. And in case of the average cost means you give the inventory. ठीक है. जो भी अगर एक customer comes, he wants one box, I have just given him the one box, and how I am going to value the remaining inventory? Based on the I will add the prices of all these three, divide by 3, and I will find what is the average cost. And on that basis, I will do the valuation of my inventory. So these are all the different methods, FIFO, LIFO, average cost method. Okay, in out of these, LIFO is not very you can just understand that this is not really important, and no amount of reference is given to it. Because of this, its principle, last in first out. So in many kinds of products and things, we have a expiry, right? So we always try to sell the product which has came first. So inadvertently we follow the FIFO method. Okay, gross profit, gross margin I already explained. Contribution margin, contribution I have already told you what is a contribution. So contribution is sales less all variable cost divided by the sales. It gives you, it tells you that what amount is available for the fixed cost payment. Because जब आप contribution में से fixed cost deduct करते हैं, when you deduct contribution from your fixed cost, then you get what is called as the contribution, right? So this is what contribution is all about. In this case, firm must sell a large number of units in order to pay for its fixed cost and generate a net profit. When the contribution margin is low, it means that the business has large proportion of variable cost and fewer fixed cost. जब contribution margin ज़्यादा हो, in that case, this is the scenario. I have told you what are variable cost. I have told you what is fixed cost. Then that much detail not is required. You just have to focus on the above 3 lines, that what is contribution, how it can be calculated. This is all that you need to know. Okay, so we'll stop our class at this particular moment. We have few more topics to go, and I'm hoping that I'm keeping it as easy as it can get, so that you just have the understanding without getting overburdened with the content. Okay, so thank you so much for joining in.